Hi, and welcome back to Wildman Wheels. Today, I'm gonna give you my unbiased opinion on this right here, Hercules 9 amp variable speed surface conditioning tool, model HE68. We know Harbor Freight likes to change up their tool manufacturers and change models pretty frequently. So this is the HE68 model. It's clearly marked on the box, several different locations. So if you're looking at buying one of these, this is the one I'm reviewing. Yours may be different. I don't know. You might be watching this video 7 years from now and they got a completely different model. But this is my unbiased opinion. I went out and purchased this. I'm not sponsored by Hercules. I know, shocking. Everybody thinks if you have a YouTube channel, you're a millionaire and you get sponsored by everybody. Nope, not at all. This right here, as you can kind of see in the background of what we got going on here, is 1979 International Scout. The paint was absolutely horrific on this, and there was some terrible rust, which required replacement of certain panels, which, you know, the paint's not going to match, and so unfortunately we had to just fix the paint. Some point in the past of this vehicle, it had a very low quality attempt at painting on it, so it just looked bad. The clear coat was peeling off. It looked terrible. So I decided the only right thing to do was just strip it down and start from scratch. So I had seen on, Facebook, YouTube, seen ads for these surface conditioning tools from Easton, tool manufacturer, and they wanted like 250 bucks. And I was like, man, that's a lot of dollars. I can buy a lot of parts for my Scout for 250 bucks. Actually, I can get like one part. They're kind of pricey. But so I started doing a little looking around, and I actually swung by my local Harbor Freight, and I noticed this guy was sitting right there. Well, it's the exact same thing as the Easton, and they wanted $140. I think it was $139.99 or something along those lines. And so I decided, you know what? I would much rather put the bet on a $140 tool than a $250 tool, especially seeing how I'm just, kind of an average Joe, and I'm not doing body work and stripping paint every day on vehicles. I'm just trying to get this one, up and running. And you know what? I may have another vehicle in the future that I end up doing something like this with. I mean, that guy over there needs some serious help too. So we probably will end up using this on that Scout at some point in the future when we start working on that guy. But this is what we got going on here. So enough of the chit chat. I just kind of want to give you a little background onto why I purchased it, obviously. And, this is what we got going on here. So this is a variable speed. There are several different drums that you can purchase for it. Wire wheel drums, surface paint stripping drums. They have surface conditioning drums. They even have polishing drums that you can put on this thing. So it's a very versatile tool, and so they made it variable speed. So basically, depending on what you're trying to do with it, you can adjust the speed on it. This right here, 1,000 to 3,700 RPM adjustment on the actual tool, and it has a little rotary dial on there. You can set it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And that's the speed settings. Now, one of the things is this thing being $140, it did actually come with a stripping pad, a stripping drum in the box with this, brand spanking new. Now, at Harbor Freight, in order to purchase a stripping drum, they're about $30. So with it coming with the stripping drum in the box with it, and with them being about 30 bucks, that means you're actually paying about $110 for the tool. Now, like I said, I didn't get the Eastwood, so I don't know if the Eastwood also comes with a stripping drum included with it. I don't know. It might come with 4 or 5 different attachments or drums with it, so that $250 might not be a bad deal. I don't know. I don't know. All I can tell you is this is the one I got, and so I'm going to tell you about this one. So with that being said, let's take a look at it. Here she is after, I would say probably about 10 to 11 hours of use. All right, so in the box, it comes with a set of instructions. It comes with 2 Allen keys, a small one and a big one. The small one is for you to attach the handle, just 2 screws, tightens down. The large one is to remove and install your drums. They are backwards threaded, so remember that lefty tighty, righty loosey when you go to take it off. It does operate similarly to a 4-inch angle grinder. There's a button that you push on the back side here, rotate it until it locks into place. Then you can go ahead and loosen, take the nut off or the bolt off here with a nice big washer, and then your drum will come off. Now, it uses keys, these guys right here, in order to lock the drum onto the shaft. So 2 keys, they're not super difficult. It's not super difficult to get the drum installed on there. Slide the 2 keys into place. I'll hold them down here on the bottom, get the drum started, drops into place. Nice big fat washer, and on the washer itself, it actually says right on the washer, left-hand threads, just to make sure you don't forget. Go ahead and get that guy tightened. Press and hold the button on the back, make sure it stays locked in, and then go ahead and tighten her in place, and you're ready to rock and roll. The other thing that I thought was actually pretty cool about this is it does come with a spare set of brushes for the motor. The brushes are underneath this cover and this cover right here. Just a single torque screw. You can gain access to the brushes to be able to replace those. When I see companies offer brushes with their tools, that to me tells me they're intending this tool to be used to the extent that you may need to actually replace the brushes. That kind of gives me, personally myself, a vote of confidence that I actually bought something that's fairly quality. The manufacturer intended for this thing to last for hundreds, if not thousands of hours, and then replace the brushes, get a second lease on life on that machine, and you can continue to use it for hundreds or even thousands of hours again. So that kind of makes me feel good about purchasing this from Harbor Freight. I think they actually took the time and effort to make something that's a pretty decent tool and can be used for a long time. Okay, so we've kind of gone over what's in the box. We got some stuff, kind of took a first preliminary look at the tool. What's my opinion on the tool as far as actually getting work done? This thing is actually really, really awesome. I'll just tell you right now, highly recommend 1000%. If you have a job that you're trying to do, you're trying to get some metal. And that's the other thing, is it doesn't have to just be used for paint. I've used stripping discs to remove rust from pieces of metal, from old projects that you're just like, hey, I'm not gonna like go crazy with this thing. I just need to remove all of the loose rust so I can just spray paint this thing so it doesn't continue to rust and it looks a little better than it currently does. I've used these stripping drum pads before. Now, my first experience with stripping pads, right here, 4-inch angle grinder. You can pick these things up on Amazon. You can pick them up at your local hardware store. These things are kind of everywhere. At your local hardware store, they're expensive. They're like 10, 12 bucks a piece. For the stripping disc here for your 4-inch angle grinder, you go on Amazon, you can pick up like a 5-pack for like 30 bucks. They're like 5 bucks a piece. I've tried several different brands. They all seem to work about the same. If you've never used one of these before, I would highly recommend you buy the stripping disc for your 4-inch angle grinder and try it out. They will disintegrate very quickly. These are not for grinding. These are for surface prep, right? If you have rust, they'll just eat right through the rust. They'll eat right through paint. They'll eat right through all kinds of stuff. But if you have any like surface work that you need to do, you got a burr, you want to grind the burr down flat or smooth, or you got a little lip and you want to take that off, this will not do that. This will chew it up quick. One of the things that I learned is I was working on a frame and I was cleaning all the paint off of a frame, just kind of a standard C frame. And when you get to the very end of the C frame, a lot of times there's like a nice little burr on the end, and destroyed one of those little stripper discs in about 14 seconds. And I ended up getting a lot of that in my face because as it kind of disintegrates, it just starts shooting stuff everywhere. So not for metal contouring, grinding, anything like that. It's to remove paint and make the metal perfectly smooth and preps for receiving fresh paint. Now, onto the different drums that I got. So right here, this is your standard stripping drum. It's rated for 4,000 RPMs. The max RPMs for this machine right here is 3,700. So you can run this sucker wide open throttle and use your stripping drum. This guy right here, now I can't say, I haven't used the Eastwood. I don't know if the Eastwood drums are better or worse. I don't know. What I do know is that this guy right here worked great. You can see the surface finish. It worked great. For this particular project, someone had painted on a stripe and they used some kind of low quality paint and it was really gummy. And so it was actually clogging up the drum. So keep that in mind. If you're working on something that's had kind of a low quality paint job put onto it and the paint's kind of gummy, sorry dude, but you're in for a world of hurt. The stripping drum is not going to work for you. It'll load up with paint and then it just kind of stops working. Just like sandpaper. You've used sandpaper and you've sanded something that's a little soft and gummy, loads up the sandpaper and then it's junk. Now you can sit there and try to clean it, but you know you're in for a world of hurt when you get to a project like that. So they make a wire wheel. This sucker's heavy. I mean, this thing's probably 5 pounds of just solid steel. So I used this, and this is also rated 4,000 RPMs, which means you can run this sucker wide open on this tool. And I used this to strip off the gummy paint until I got underneath the gummy striped paint. And then I was able to go ahead and use the stripping drum to go ahead and take the paint right down to the bare steel. So I would highly recommend that. Now, the other question you might be asking is, how long does a drum last? So it came with one drum, and I purchased a second drum just to have, because I wasn't sure, like, is one drum going to do the whole vehicle? Do I need 2 drums? Do I need 3 drums? I don't know. Let's comes with one. Let's buy a spare one. And once I've burned through the first one, I'll kind of be able to judge at that point in time, how long is it going to take, or how many drums am I going to need to complete this project? So as you can see, this drum's not completely worn out, but it is quite a bit smaller. This was the original diameter. You can see it is quite a bit smaller. It's definitely been worn down. And then this guy right here, you can see I actually wore a taper into this one. It's larger on one side than it is the other by kind of a substantial amount. But I did this, and I did both front fenders, the passenger door, the passenger rear quarter panel, and both the corner caps using this one stripping drum. I switched over to the new stripping drum, and I did the driver rear quarter panel, the driver door, and the hood. So this does have some miles on it, but I would say I did about half of the vehicle with one and half of the vehicle with the second one. The reason why I switched from this drum to this drum, and the reason why this drum actually has still quite a bit more material on it, is once I got to the corner caps on the rear, they're kind of rounded and there was a lot of Bondo. And so I was just kind of getting in there and going in all kinds of different angles. I wasn't keeping it nice and flat on the surface, and it caused this to wear abnormally. So it's not flat anymore. It's kind of she's not flat anymore. You go to strip and it's like a little corner here, a little corner there, the inside, because I was getting into the weird angle. So I decided to go ahead and keep this one as more of like your junky one, right? We use that to get into like the weird corners right up against stuff where you might catch it on the edge and destroy part of it. And so this is kind of the junky one, weird angles. And then I just went ahead and started with a fresh brand new one for the nice big flat surfaces. So could you do one vehicle, like let's say a standard size vehicle with one drum? I'm thinking like let's say a square body Chevy, a short bed square body Chevy. Could you do with one drum? You're probably gonna be pushing it. I would definitely have at least a second one on the shelf. That being said, this really only works well on big flat surfaces, right? You can see right here in the hood, there's a little crease right here. This drum was not able to get down into the crease. So you are going to need to still have a 4-inch angle grinder, with a stripping disc on the 4-inch angle grinder to get into these little areas right inside of here. In any kind of body creases or angles or anything like that. Okay, so let's do pros versus cons. My personal opinion after doing this entire vehicle, pros versus cons. Pros, it leaves an absolute perfectly smooth finish for you to paint. We don't need to come back and sand this. We don't need to do any other material prep on the steel. It is absolutely perfectly smooth and ready for paint. You can see some discolorations, and that's just because depending on the direction that I was running this, the swirl marks in the steel are facing different directions, and so it gives it more or less of a sheen or a shine or whatever you want. Well, but if you run your hand across it and feel, I can't feel the difference between one area or the other. It's perfectly smooth. Number two, it's fast. It's a 9 amp. Okay, this thing's got some horsepower behind it. You can really just get in there and get to work with it. Tons of power, and it is fast. Pro number 3, there's lots of attachments available for this, so you can have one tool and do multiple different things with it. This isn't just a strip the vehicle down and prep for paint tool. This is, you can use it for all kinds of different things. They make flapper wheels for it, right? This one right here is more of like a surface conditioning thing, but they make actual regular old flapper wheels for it. They make wire wheels for it, obviously, but they also make several different other attachments. I need to go look online. I'm sure on Amazon, I'm sure there's even more attachments, and I'm sure there's this kind of like a generic style attachment for that. So I'm sure you could just buy stuff on Amazon. You might be able to find some stripping drums that are cheaper, or things that are more specific to maybe what you're trying to do. So it's a very universal, widely usable tool. So if you're getting this and you're thinking, man, I don't want to spend that $140 just to strip the paint off of one project vehicle or just to fix the hood on my one vehicle, you're going to be able to use this for a lot more than just that. You're going to be able to use this for lots of different projects. Okay, so let's go into the cons. The cons for this thing really aren't that big of a deal. I'm mentioning them just so you know when you go buy this, kind of what are you walking into. Cons number 1, it's pretty loud. So, I mean, it's not like you need double hearing protection, and no, it's not that, but it is pretty loud. It is louder than an angle grinder, and the thing that's making the most noise is the actual drum itself on the surface. It is fairly loud. That's neither here nor there. Put some earplugs in, I don't know, use your, AirPods or something, you'll be fine. Number 2, and it's not really a con, it's just more or less something to kind of, keep an eye on. It will cause the metal to get warm pretty quickly. You got to keep the tool moving. You can't let it just sit in one space for too long. It will get the sheet metal hot, and you could potentially get it hot enough to actually cause some warping and cause more issues than you're actually fixing. So keep that in mind. Con number 3, this is also just not really a con, but just kind of more of an FYI for you. It only works well on flat surfaces. So if you've got something from, like, let's say the 30s or the 40s, where there's a lot of swoops and roundy things, not that you couldn't use it on something like that, but it's not the greatest for that. Now, with that being said, if you've got a square body Chevy, I don't know, a GMT 400, 800, a bullnose Ford, first gen Dodge, even second gen Dodge, anything along those lines, you're going to be able to do 98% of the vehicle with this, no problems whatsoever. And the other 2%, stripping wheel on your 4-inch angle grinder to be able to get in and get your little body seams and the little, it's not bad. I did this entire vehicle, like I said, minus literally this little body seam right here and like a couple little areas where it's just kind of tight. It's just a little too tight to get this big wide guy in around the fill cap or around the fuel tank filler, area. Just areas where it's just a little bit too tight to get this big guy in here. Whip that dude out, no problem. So you're gonna need both. Now I do know Eastwood offers narrower drums for theirs, And like I said, I don't know. We'll have to look into it and see if you can put Eastwood tools or consumables on this or not. I don't know. Okay, so that's what we got going on. There's my 3 pros, my 3 cons. Would I recommend this to you for doing this type of project? Absolutely don't think about it. Just go buy it. Just go buy it. It's absolutely, you can see that Harbor Freight actually designed this tool to be used, heavily used for extended periods of time, to the point where they're like, hey, here's a rebuild kit for the motor so you can keep running it. The tools, the consumables, I would say go check out, Harbor Freight does have them in stock, and I'll say I can't vouch for Eastwood's stripping drums. I can't vouch for any of the stripping drums on Amazon, but I can vouch for the ones at Harbor Freight, the Hercules stripping drums, as well as the other tools or consumables that they have for this. They work great. They work great. Proofs in the pudding. This thing went really quick, way faster than if I tried to do it with a random orbital sander and sandpaper. This eats right through Bondo. It eats right through the paint, takes it right down to the metal. So that's my honest opinion about this tool. Buy it, don't think about it, just get it. It's worth it. It comes with a free $30. It's 110 bucks. Okay, and then pick you up a second one, maybe pick you up a wire wheel. So if you end up running into any gummy paint or anything weird, you can just slap the old wire wheel attachment on there and keep on ripping. I think you'd be very, very pleased with the results of it. I know I am. So don't even think about it. Just go buy it. Okay, that's going to do it for this week. I worked 497,000 hours this week and got 0 opportunity to come out here in the shop after work any of the days this week and get any work done on the Scout. And we're to the point where we're cutting and welding and replacing, sectioning out fenders and rocker panels and things, right? So that's all kind of time consuming stuff to do. And so I decided, you know what? I got a bunch of you guys who are asking me questions about this, people that I know, people that comments in the videos. They're asking, hey man, what do you think about this? Is this something I should get? So that's why I decided, you know what? Let's do this week. And this is gonna be a chance to get caught up and do some grocery shopping and laundry and things like that. So this is what we got for this week. Thanks for stopping by, checking this out. And if you kind of you want to see like actual like this tool in action, go check out the last couple videos. You can see me stripping the fenders and quarter panels and hood and things like that. Also, stick around. We're gonna keep this project. I mean, I hate not being able to just take this out and drive it. If I had the opportunity, if this wasn't sitting like this, I'd just take this into town and go grocery shopping. But I can't, because it's like this. So we need to, get stuff done. All right, that's gonna do it for this week. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out, checking out this cool tool. I highly recommend you get. And hope you had yourselves a wonderful weekend. And we'll be back next week with more awesome excitement. Also, don't forget to like, comment, tell me your thoughts. Have you had one of these tools? Did it work great for you? Did it not? I don't know. Tell me about it. And subscribe, because I need more subscribers. I don't have very many subscribers. You can help me with that. Thanks. See you later.